Welcome to the Sharkbite Show, where we dive into the stories of our members, coaches, friends, and family of Sharkbite Fitness and Nutrition. All right, let's roll. So, guys, today I'm here with Rich Bellini. He is a member of our Fort Myers gym, a police officer. He's a friend of mine. He is a military veteran. He's a huge goofball, and he is a member of the Short Jort Brethren with me. So you will find us wearing those without talking about it many times. All right, man. So talk to me. First off, who are you? How long have you been interested in fitness? What got you into it? Why do you do it? That kind of thing.
All right. You all know, my name's Rich Bellini. Originally from Jersey boy.
Never would have guessed.
Yeah, no, right? Never. So growing up in Jersey, my father would always work out. My father, he was big in the fitness game and all that stuff. And I remember specifically being very, very young, my dad coming back from the gym and he would make these protein shakes. And I was like, what the hell is that? That looks good. And it smelled good. And I was like, oh. So my dad would actually say, you can have a sip of this if you do 5 push-ups.
Ooh, that's
so I would start doing 5 push-ups and I'd get like those little Dixie cups that you would wash your mouth in and all that stuff. He would fill that up with a protein, like a little bit of protein shake, and then I would...
That's smart.
Yeah, so that'd be my reward for doing something active and all that stuff.
Cool.
So fitness was put into me at a very young age.
Okay.
And my father would credit that. And as it progressed, it's just being in control of your body, being in control of your health. You know, I saw what like not taking care of yourself does. Unfortunately, some sicknesses and, cancers run in my family. So fitness and health is significant as far as like our family beliefs and all that stuff, because taking care of yourself, no one's going to take care of you except yourself.
That's a good way to put it. So what about like functional fitness style training, like what we do now? How did you get into that?
Okay, so I've been in the bro gym 4 years.
Yeah.
I've been a bro forever. So up until I want to say, God, maybe when I first enlisted in the Army.
Yeah.
It took for me to get deployed. My most recent deployment in, I want to say 2017, when we were in Africa, and they had a box like just out in the open. Okay.
Like a workout place, like a CrossFit gym.
Yep. Yeah. And it was in Camp Lemonnier in Djibouti, Africa. It's called 30th Parallel, CrossFit 30th Parallel, and I saw, Kyle.
Edgerlin.
Yeah, Edgerlin. Yeah. So
cool.
he was in our
shout out Kyle.
Yeah, woo. He was in our battalion. I saw him, just do this I want to say it was a power clean and jerk, and it was like two something.
Yeah.
And I watched him do this. I'm like, oh, absolutely not. I'm this big gorilla looking dude. I'm like, no, I gotta do it. And when I couldn't do it, I was like, oh, no, this ain't happening.
Well, and for the people who don't know, Kyle is not that large. I mean, he probably weighs 140 pounds.
Yeah, and he is 5 foot short.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I'm sorry, this ain't happening. Like, love you, Kyle. But so once I saw that, I was like, teach me. And from there, I did one workout, and that was it. It was
You're like
just,
hooked right there,
I was instantly hooked. That's when I say like the real hook got me. But I have done CrossFit before I deployed, like when I was in Florida at the old location.
Yeah.
But it became my primary source of fitness when I was overseas, when Kyle did that lift and I could not.
Oh man, that's a cool feeling. I had the same thing happen to me with a guy in the Army doing the workout called Cindy. So the push-ups, pull-ups, squats. And man, he just embarrassed me so bad. I was like, all right, I don't ever want to do anything different again. Like I need to do this and only this, and it's been since then. Yeah. I totally resonate with that. Well, so did you play any sports or anything growing up? So you worked out, right? Mm-hmm. Were you involved in like athletics?
I did I did football my senior year of high school, and that was really the only sport I played in high school.
Who waits till their senior year of high school to start playing football?
Well, when you're in band your whole high school.
There you go. Okay,
I was on the drum line, so
nice.
I was a band geek. But, I was a drummer, and that was one of my other outlets next to fitness.
Okay, cool. So. I mean, dude, so I was in ROTC, which is, like the fake Army stuff before you're in... Yeah, so it's...
You said it.
just as nerdy as band stuff, I promise you. But, it was pretty physical. And I remember watching the band guys, and that was pretty physical too.
Surprisingly, core strength is very much involved carrying a drum.
Carrying a drum and hitting it all the time.
Yeah.
All right, so what brought you from, I think anyone doesn't know, I think Rich was literally born in the house the Jersey Shore people came from, right?
A lot of people don't know that. I was actually born in the bathroom that Sammy and Ronnie fought in.
What brought you from that sweet hellscape of Jersey down to Florida?
So my father, it was in corrections in Jersey. He retired pretty early with all his benefits, all that stuff, which was good. But up there, it's like an arm and a leg to live.
Yeah, cost of living's way higher. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it was a week into his retirement. We were just in the kitchen. He's like, screw this. We're gonna up and leave. He was like, where are we going? Like, I like Florida. And then my mother, she loves the beach, so she picked. She's like, oh, Fort Myers is pretty close, all that stuff, and to like the beaches and all that. So at the time, I just started dating Giselle, who's now my wife. So she had family in Cape Coral. So she made the decision to actually move with me that early into dating me. Like,
Giselle, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry you did that. I'm so sorry you did that.
Let me tell you how great Stockholm Syndrome is. It is amazing, bro. So she has family in Cape Coral. So my mother was like, that's why she picked Fort Myers too. She's like, well, her family's right over the bridge. This works out. So and here we are, Fort Myers. That's
cool. How long ago was that?
There's always a discrepancy in the date between me and Giselle. I say September 2014 now. At least she convinced me it was that.
Okay. All right, so you got here around the same time I did. That's cool. All right, so are you planning on moving back?
No.
Yeah. No.
Sorry. I tried to hold that in.
Who would do such a thing?
Oh.
Okay, so you did CrossFit when you were deployed. That's where you found it, right? And you worked out at a different gym prior to being part of Sharkbite, right? And when we expanded from Cape to Fort Myers, we kind of absorbed the gym that you were part of, right? What's it been like, kind of like joining the Sharkbite family and getting used to the way we do things?
Very much involved.
Yeah.
It's very happy to see, it's the same, coach like Sue, Brian, they were there when I first did when Thoroughbreds had their Groupon, and my first coach was Brian and all that stuff.
Nice.
And, when you think your deadlift is good, no, it's not. He'll pick it apart, which is good. I'm grateful for it. Keeps me on my toes, and being a cop, you need like a professor to keep the cop in check, because I will articulate and find loopholes to get through a word. No way. But it very much involved. I like the bigger group. Met a lot more people. Always more challenges. Especially like at these competitions like Bloodline Brawl where you and me did that. Yeah. It's a big thing. It was a big to do and all that stuff. So it's good to have that that camaraderie, all that stuff, that bonding with people. Like Battle of the Beach was a blast too.
Yep.
That was just what we intended to do.
But we participated.
Yeah, it was good. We showed up.
That's been one of my favorite parts about the expansion of the gyms, right? It's just like literally meeting more people. Like I think you and I had met once or twice beforehand, but I didn't really know you. But now I have a real friend that I made from the gym, and I love that. I feel like with each new gym we've picked up, because we're at 3 now, I get to keep meeting these groups of awesome people I might not have met otherwise.
Yeah, that is definitely true.
Yeah. So you mentioned it earlier, your wife, Giselle, she comes here too. You get to work out with her. What's that like? What's it like kind of getting to share recreation like that with her too? Hold on, actually, I should say, you guys work really weird schedules.
Yes.
Yeah, because you're a cop.
Yeah.
She's a firefighter. So your schedules are all over the place.
Yeah.
Right? Does this help, having something like that?
Well, when you're a firefighter and you have the luxurious, lifestyle and stuff, that's a different podcast we can hit up later. All right. Yeah. It worked out. With her, she's got the 24-hour shifts on, and then she gets 2 days off. With the shift that she's currently working now, because she's going to go to paramedic school, it just still works out in line with my schedule.
Oh, cool.
It helps that she had a very good support system. She definitely made a name for herself in the fire academy, and she got the right people to notice her for the right reasons, all that stuff. So they really do bend over backwards to help her. And when her command came up, was like, listen, her husband's a canine handler. We don't want to keep him away too much, all that stuff. And when the chief was like, hey, just handle it, that's fine. So they're not separated.
Oh, that's awesome. That's super cool.
So, but the 12-hour shifts, especially being on night shift, it's it could be a project sometimes getting here.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to get my recovery in, which is like one of my bigger. I actually just got this Whoop. I'm surprised.
There we go, dude.
Yeah,
nice. Okay,
yeah.
cool.
So I'm surprised right now. I'm surprised in the recovery section it doesn't say LOL or it hasn't called 911 for me. But it's. You make it happen. This is important to me enough where I make it a priority. But I've also learned to, make, time outside of priority as well, as far as like recovery and like time with my wife and all that. Coming here is just a priority. Like you got to take care of yourself because those hours, they catch up to you, especially on nights when you're trying to stay up, like the copious amounts of caffeine you got to take.
Yeah. Or the Rippets.
Rippets. Yes.
I can't drink those in America, only in Iraq. So.
Yeah. They got a different side.
All right. So you touched on it a little bit. You're a military veteran, right? You were in the Army. How long were you in? What were your experiences like? What'd you do?
So I did 8 years.
Cool.
Okay. I did National Guard. I started in New Jersey. Came to Florida Guard when.
So you were able to transfer to the Florida Guard?
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
I was an infantryman.
There we go.
Yep. So, it's very demanding on the body, firsthand. Carrying all that weight and load. Like, I was always the saw gunner. So the saw, for those that know, the saw is the squad automatic weapon. So it's the machine gun. And when you're moving and doing those long hikes, you're hauling 2,400 rounds.
Oh my gosh!
Plus that weapon system, plus the 3 extra barrels, plus your MRE, plus everything you got on you, and you're like, oh my god, this sucks so bad. But then when you're going laying hay, that's like, all right,
yeah, it
wasn't so bad.
It's pretty fun to shoot.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, so I always did that. I can't, the experience was amazing. You meet people from all corners of this country. You meet people from like. I remember in boot camp, I met somebody from Puerto Rico. And to me, that was just the most craziest thing. And like just the way he was just explaining how lifestyle is over there and why he's in the Puerto Rican National Guard. Because they have their own, their guard system. So, just meeting all those people. And of course, when I was there, one guy I was with, heard me ask like, hey, where can I get a cup of coffee from? And it was like all the Southern boys were like, what'd you call it? I'm like,
the coffee.
Yeah. So you got this guy from Mississippi coming up, do you know Snooki? And I'm like, I've seen her once or twice. And they're like, and you spend 12 hours in a Humvee with somebody, you learn a lot.
Yeah, you learn a lot about them real fast.
Yeah, I've been specifically like being to Africa, like in Djibouti, just the most loving human beings I've ever encountered.
Really?
Yes, their living conditions aren't the best. I'll never forget. We're walking through just one of the villages, just doing pretty much just a meet and greet. Seeing what the village needs and all that stuff because we have the base there, and we're just, hey, does anybody need a job? Because we contract the locals, so we're helping put money in the city. And I'll never forget, this man just came out of this tin hut. Just no shirt, just raggedy pants, all that stuff. And you see the family inside, and he came up to me and my buddy and was like, hey, you guys, like, do you want to eat? You want dinner? And I was like, Lord, forgive me if I'm ever ungrateful. Like, it was, this man barely has enough to feed his family, and he came up and asked if we were hungry. So it's just, like I said, just the most loving, caring people ever. Like, these people had a huge party on base, and when we came, just passing by, we're like, hey, what's going on? Everyone's all happy and all that stuff. We're like, oh, it's a celebration. Like, for what? And this lady's like, life. I'm like, these people are just happy to be alive. I'm like, my God, I was just complaining about Wi-Fi 20 minutes ago. And so it definitely puts stuff into perspective. It definitely, it brought humility. And I'm a very humble guy to begin with. Yeah. But it really, really opened my eyes to a lot of things too.
Who was I was just talking to about this? I think it was on Rachel's podcast, Hafer. She did mission work, right? And it was like, just seeing how people live in other countries gives you a real awareness of like what you should and shouldn't complain about.
Yes. Yeah. And I always said, I get everybody has their day-to-day problems. Everybody, there's those stressors, but like let me tell you, some people have no idea what a bad day is.
Yeah. Like perspective really matters,
yes.
And you just can't get that unless you physically get it. Yeah. What you're describing, I remember exactly that. Like seeing a house where like half of it isn't there anymore and people are still living in it. And house is like house is a relative term. I'm talking about like 2.5
That's what I
walls
mean,
of dirt, you know, with some stuff on top. Yeah, you're right. You're one of the only other people I've heard say that, because I feel the same way. Like, I was in Iraq. I didn't go to Africa. I went to Iraq, and there was obviously some aggressive stuff, right? But there were also a lot of really friendly people, and I don't think I would be that friendly if a bunch of people from a different country with guns were hanging out in my neighborhood, you know?
Right.
But they were caring. They'd give us food. They'd help us out. A tire popped, they'd come offer to help.
Yeah.
It was wild, dude. So you were a veteran. You spent time in the Army. You decided to get out. Now you're a police officer, right? You're a first responder. What is, like, fitness was important to you then for other reasons, right? Why is fitness important to you now? Why is staying healthy important to you now?
So this is a huge talking point, like for me, like a belief and all that stuff. It just a first responder in general, you know, whether you're firefighter, EMT, paramedic, police officer, any of that sort. I posted, like, it was a meme on our page, I think maybe 1 or 2 years ago, and it showed the top half of a gym, and it said the difference of effort you put out here is could be the difference of life and death out there. And it showed an officer fighting for his life. So, you know, that's part of it. And it slowly started to shift. That paradigm started to shift for me a little bit. I believe that 100%, but I also, you know I'm more than capable to take care of myself. But, you know, they say train like your life depends on it, because your fitness, you know, will affect your life, and your life depends on your fitness. But now somebody else's life probably depends on your fitness. You know, you always say, like, I could live with my own failure. You know, I could be like, you know, maybe if I just conditioned a little more, I wouldn't have got punched in the face that day or something like that. You know, if I come home from it, you know, God willing. But I can't imagine failing someone or some family because I wasn't able to push the extra step, because I was out of shape, because I was winded, because I wasn't able to lift somebody or rip the car door open. I mean, you know, we have the tools for it, but, like, when seconds matter and your body needs to push to that limit, you know, you could save someone's life, or, you know, the worst could happen.
Right? It's interesting, right? Like, my first couple of years that I was in the Army, I didn't understand that. I don't know why. I couldn't. I don't know. I don't have a good excuse for it. I just didn't, right? Like, I wasn't in great shape. I didn't care about getting in shape. I didn't view that as like an important thing to me, right? You know? And then later in my career, I kind of had a similar realization to you. I think it was once I started to become a leader, and I was like, oh my God, it's not just me. Like, it's, if I am not fit enough for the soldiers who work below me or the guys who work next to me, like, I could make it so they die. And that was like a whole different awakening. And I remember definitely being really embarrassed of myself that I, like, couldn't recognize that before. I was, like, shameful of that.
And yeah, I've had that realization too. And it's just, you know, we're our own worst enemy. Like, guys like you and me, you know, like, nobody can get in our heads except us. But once we're in our heads, it's you know, yeah.
So Jim says that, right? He says, train or be punished, right? That's his, like, favorite tagline. He's talking about the same thing you're talking about, you know. And on the podcast I did with him, he gave a great story about when he was an instructor in the NYPD, and he would tell people a very similar story to what you just told them. It's like, you know, there's other people relying on you. Yeah. And how important it is to, not only you're being fit for you, you're being fit to keep other people safe. You're being fit to keep other officers safe. You're being fit to keep the people who you're supposed to be protecting safe. You know, like, I'm getting, like, tickly right now thinking about how I wish I had known that at 18, you know?
It's, yeah, you know, hindsight is like 20/20. And, you know, like, same thing with CrossFit. I wish I wasn't such a stubborn idiot, bro. When I can imagine if I just, like, applied this knowledge and stuff, like, when I was, 18?
Yeah, right?
Like, God, I wouldn't. I can't imagine what,
like, to be clear, we're not, like, old enough that we're out of our primes yet, right? But, like, if you imagine if we'd started this when we were 18, you said you were a 240 gunner, or I mean a saw gunner, right? I was a 240 gunner in my first deployment. So if anyone doesn't know, that's like a 30-pound gun you carry around with a ton of other attachments and ammo and stuff. And I weighed like 170 pounds, you know? Yeah. And I try to think, man, like, if I did what I did now, how much easier that would have been, you know?
Oh, yeah.
How much more comfortable that would have been. Carrying that big gun on my neck would have not been painful at all compared to, like, back then I'm breaking my body in half to do it.
And you also have, like, you know, these idiots and criminals on the street that, you know, they do their thing and they're pumped up with adrenaline and all this. And, you know, somebody on adrenaline, they go to a different level of, like, their abilities and all that stuff. And I remember specifically, and I'll get more into it, like with that most recent shooting on Alico when our guys were shot at trying to stop a home invasion robbery, and we had 2 canine tracks. We got them both, but I remember being back up on both canine tracks, looking to the woods for these 2 people that just shot at our guys. So you're going, you're trying to maneuver through all these wood lines, through water and ditches and all that stuff, and and even just back up, you're watching the guy who's handling the dog and all that stuff. So afterwards, when we got them all, my sergeant was making a joke how everybody was like chugging Gatorades, like being like winded, like not tooting my own horn, but then he'd look at me and be like, look, Bellini's ready to keep doing box jumps in the woods and all that stuff. And I was just standing there chilling, like, all right, yeah, we're done. Because command presence is big too, especially so you see like this out of shape. God, whatever you do as a first responder, you're like lazy looking, like out of shape, just not in it. Do you want your life to depend on that guy? Do you think like, oh, I can get away with what I want with this cop showing up and all that stuff? But you try and make that image of like, oh my God, like what the hell just showed up on scene? Like we're not getting away. Like it was a bad, I wanted to make it known that like what was looking for them was going to get them, and it wasn't stopping.
Yeah, we used to have an idea where, we would like raid houses. The hope was that we didn't ever have to shoot at anybody. The idea was like, hopefully we were intimidating enough as we came in that they were like, I'm done. No more. Don't want to participate in this, And you're right. If you're bent over looking like a target, that's the kind of thing that's not going to happen.
The funniest thing that was actually said to me was I had one guy when I showed up on scene, all my canine gear and all that stuff. And I had this guy be like, oh my God, why is he here? That macho looking motherfucker. And he called me macho looking. That's a Pokemon. And I'm like, you know what? That was the coolest thing anyway. Because macho's just beefy looking Pokemon. And I'm like, that was funny. Okay.
I didn't catch that. That's like the best compliment, especially for a nerd. That's like the best you could ever
receive. Oh, yeah. But he was dead serious, too. He's like, this macho looking son. It ties into it spiritually, mentally.
Yeah, that's what I want to get into next, right? Because like you and I were talking about this a couple minutes before we started the podcast, in that like we're both like large dudes with tattoos. You don't expect people like us to talk about like mental health, right? But like this matters to us, right? Like what is this for you for that?
So I wrote this on a post on our Bright Spot Friday once that, I look forward to coming here more than just to get a workout in. It's because the atmosphere here is therapeutic. Just
it's a good way to put it.
And especially like being off shift and all that, like just getting off, ditching the gear and all that. Like now I'm not a cop anymore. Now it's okay. Now I'm always rich, but now I'm really like rich, and it's always hugs, smiles, and happiness. Anyone that comes in here is always welcome. Like we've known each other for years.
Yes.
Even the newest members are like, they're greeted with like, oh, hi, how you doing? And you see their face like, oh my God, like, hi, how you doing? Because you don't find that anywhere else. There's no other gym that really like your regular bro gyms and all that stuff, like, Globo gyms, you don't do that.
Yeah.
You don't have that. But here it's like, hey, what's up? Like it really brings out those warm and fuzzies, I like to call them, and it's just smiles and hugs. I get to see my friends, hey, how was your day? How's this going? All that stuff. And like, it's just so supportive here. Like you could be like failing your lifts and all that stuff. And big shout out to Sue for lying to me, telling me I'm not a total piece of crap for missing my lifts. You shouldn't, but it makes me feel better every now and then. And I actually, a lot of people don't know this, and I do want to share it, that like after both those shows, so my first shooting was in March of 2020, right before the lockdown. And then the most recent one off of Alico was that I actually came to class, the first available class, when I woke up the next day, like after those shootings. And it was just because after a situation like that, your adrenaline is going, like I couldn't sit still. And it wasn't just because, my mind was in a bad spot or nothing like that. It's just that adrenaline dump is so serious. So I'm like, I'm either going to sit here, stare at the ceiling, or, play video games, or I can actually expend this energy in a healthy way.
Yep.
So the more recent one in November, when I came to class and Sue was coaching, I walked in and I'm still like that, but in a good way. I'm happy, me. But she's like, how much pre-workout did you take? And I told her what happened. She's like, oh my God, like, are you? And I'm pretty sure, I think it was Ashley that goes here. She, I think she saw it on the news, and she just messaged the page, and she's like, hey, has anybody heard from Rich? And then everyone's talking like, yeah, I heard they're canine involved in shootings and all that stuff like that, and just my friends that care about me and care about each other, that, like, hey, has anybody heard from him? Because the news says one thing, and they made it seem like we were all hit, and so I can understand why people were concerned. But waking up to that, like, everybody's concerned and all that stuff, I was like, oh my god, like, it was just very heartwarming, that people actually care.
Yeah.
And they want to know how each other, how we all are doing, like how we're taking care of each other, and it truly is. It's humbling, like it's heartwarming. That's the best way to describe it.
So how old are you now?
I'm 29. I got a death grip on it because I turned 30. I turned 30 on the 30th.
Okay, so 29. I'm 32, right? Like,
does it hurt when you turn 30?
Yes. Yeah, and then it hurts every day after that.
Oh no.
I find people our age, especially like guys our age, man, like there's not a real good way to make friends. I know that it might sound lame to some people, like whatever. If you think it's lame, you're lame. Like it's hard to make friends if you're, especially in towns we didn't grow up in.
Right.
And pretty much every person I care about that like I'm close to, I met through one of these gyms.
Mm-hmm.
And like many of them don't come to the gym anymore, and that's totally okay. But you're right. Like having people who like care about what's going on in your life,
and
that you get to like care about theirs, and you get to interact with them, and you get to create like a community like that. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I always tell people like, I don't really like working out all that much. Like I like getting my ass kicked while hanging out with my friends, and like that's what we're doing here. We're not.
Yeah, I say it all the time when I'm rolling around in copious amounts of pain.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my god, like I need to find a new way to hang out with my friends.
All right, so in the short amount of time that we've known each other, right?
Mm-hmm.
We've done some cool events together.
Yep.
Right? Usually wearing shorts.
Yep.
We did a couple CrossFit competitions together.
Mm-hmm.
You want to talk about those?
Yes, I do actually.
Okay. So we did Battle at the Beach.
Yeah.
Right. That was up in St. Pete. And then we did the Bloodline Brawl, the amazing Bloodline Brawl, as always hosted by Bloodline CrossFit over in Lehigh, right?
Yep.
Talk to me about your favorite memories about Battle at the Beach.
Okay, so Battle at the Beach, we show up, and actually it started the night before when I'm getting, video chatted by you and Mike, and you guys are like, sorry, Rich, we don't know if we're gonna be able to do it tomorrow, like chugging, like drinking alcohol. Meanwhile, here I am foam rolling, I got Eye of the Tiger playing, I'm doing my stretches, and here I'm getting videos from you two, fucking getting hammered. Like,
yeah, we didn't do a great job communicating to you our level of seriousness for this event.
But then,
I apologize.
But then, and you told me like, so like the last WOD is gonna happen at like 9:30 at night, and I'm like, absolutely not. So,
yeah.
But what was good was when I came to realization, I'm like, my God, these guys are gonna be hungover and disturbed. Like, actually, you know what? That might benefit me because now I'm gonna look like a stud next to these two. It was a good time, once the jorts came on and all that stuff.
And I think that we didn't even talk to each other about that. We just both wore short shorts.
Yeah, we brought them.
Yeah.
I was like, I brought these, and you're like, me too. I'm like, well, okay, we have to now. We're obligated.
Yeah, there's that great photo where we're both dumbbell snatching with the short wedgies up our ass. It's fantastic.
Oh yeah, those were in there. Upside down McDonald's arch. So that was a really fun time. Getting a nice pump, and it was our work kind of workouts. It was like benching and what. Snatching. The only one that wasn't fun was the run.
The long run.
Yeah, because I don't run. That's why I have a German Shepherd in a car. So running to kick rocks. But the funniest one where like I started dying in the water, like cracking up, was just, and I should have like. It should have clicked the plan when we were on the beach, when we ran into the water, you and me, and we're smoking all these other dudes. I mean, granted, like, these other guys, and I'm looking around like, we're going to get stomped.
Yeah, they were a lot fitter than us. They were a lot fitter looking than us.
Yes, very much so. These gentlemen prepared.
There were 6 abs on our entire team, and they were all on Mike.
Yeah, yes, that's true, yes. So we hit the water, and we're smoking these dudes, and because, I know how to move through the water like that, and all that sort of juice, so we were using that turf, and we weren't even gassed from it. But I'll never forget when we made the first turnaround by that buoy, and here's Mike's little self standing there with the rope, like,
jumping up in the air.
I just trying to find Mike while the other two like, I died in the water, and I'm like, oh my God, I just pictured what it would be like if he ran in and just like, like come out the water.
Because if anyone doesn't get what we're saying, the workout was something like a long run, and then you had to go out into the water like 3 times, like swim out into these buoys and come back and then do another long run back. And Mike is, 3'2", so we didn't want to send him out in the water so we didn't lose him.
Right.
But what that meant was that Rich and I would go out to the water every time. We'd come back and we would overtake pretty much everybody in the water every time, and then we'd come back on the land and we were just smoked.
Yeah.
So then all these people would blow past us on the run.
Yeah.
And it was just that cycle over and over again.
And you talking so much crap to the people past us, you're like, that's rude. Like, who do you think you are? I'm like, and I just feel like, this clown.
I was asking the other teams to please slow down so they didn't embarrass us.
Yeah.
They did not appreciate that.
Yeah. And when we had this plan, we were walking. We were walking on the soft part of the sand, and it was one of you two, and you're like, "Hey, let's walk on the hard surf, the hard part of the sand, so we get more traction." Like,
which was a good idea.
Yeah. Until we did that, and there were all those shells there, and you hear the crack. We're like, "Ah, back on the soft," and we're like, so we had to immediately go back to it. Was just
what a terrible workout.
Oh, it was so bad, and then I think it was, I forgot his name. He worked on me on the table.
Josh
Worked on me for the table, and he finally saw like what a dismantled human being was, and he was like, "Oh my God, what the hell's wrong with you?" I'm like, "Just save me, please!" Like, it's so bad. So that guy, I was like, "Oh, we offer this service too. I kind of need this." And he did one pinch, and now my squat form was perfect. I was like, "Outstanding."
Well, so then we also did the bloodline brawl, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that one was fun because we also went into that one with very low expectations. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
we ended up doing pretty good.
We did amazing.
Yeah, way better than expected.
Yes. Yeah. So what did we get? 7th?
I think 6th.
6th out of what? 17 or 18?
Something like that. Yeah. We thought we were gonna be like top 17. So.
Yeah. So it was a clown show. It was a circus. We were working. We had this solid plan and all that stuff, and we stuck to it. It worked out fantastically. The Echo bike, working on the Echo bike definitely helped with the regular one.
Absolutely did.
Yeah, I was like I remember hitting my calories, and I'm like, I'm not exerting that much energy, but I'm getting there, and I'm like, holy crap, I'm actually doing it. The deadlift portion was hysterical. I think you did, what'd you do, 1 or 2 halfway through, and then you just pointed out no, you're up, and I'm like, oh my God, I have to keep going.
Yeah, we had the workout with the deadlifts and the bikes, and the intention was for me to do a little bit more of the bike and you to do a little bit more of the deadlifts. And then I realized I had a pretty good advantage on the bike, and you had a pretty good advantage on the deadlift. So I think you thought you had 2 reps left, and I just smacked you on the butt, and I was like, "You're finishing," and I walked away.
Yep.
And I heard you go, "What?"
Yeah. And I just kept going.
We did really well on that one.
The box, those, how high were those boxes?
48 inches, so 4 feet.
48 inches.
Yeah.
So and I'm like, oh, I got this. I do this. I get paid to do this. This is it. So, I think it was the first jump over we did. I went over first, and here you come, but you went wide.
Yeah, I went way wide.
And I just remember seeing the bottom of your feet coming down. It was slow motion. I started hearing "Hello, darkness, my old friend," and I'm like, I'm gonna get skull stomped. All right, and it's actually recorded. There's documentation of me saying, "I'm okay," right before you landed, thinking I'm gonna get stomped out. And you landed, I'm like, "Oh God, okay."
Yeah, I jumped over and I couldn't really tell where you were, and then all of a sudden you popped up, and I was like, "Too late to move."
Yeah,
I guess I'm doing the rest of this one by myself.
Yep.
Luckily, I did not kick you in the face.
That was great. And then we had the other workout with that medicine ball, right? And then
throwing it over our shoulder.
Yeah. And I was actually proud of myself for how many rope climbs I did.
You did great, bro. You did great.
And I'm very grateful you had to finish because I did that last rep for me. I looked at you like, man, I'm gonna fall. I'm gonna fall if I do this next one. It's gonna be bad. So I just did the. And I remember looking at the final standing and all that stuff, and especially when they described the last part of the workout and they were listing the teams who made it. And when we weren't on there, I was like, oh, thank God.
Yeah.
I was like,
oh my, same. Zach from Bloodline had come up to me and been like, "You're gonna love this workout. You better get to the final." And I was like, "Ah, you jerk."
Yeah.
There's gonna be muscle ups in it finally, and I'm not gonna get there. And then it turned out we just barely missed it. And then they showed the workout, and I was like, "Oh, thank God."
Yeah.
Thrusters and handstand push-ups. The 2 things I hate the most.
Yeah. And I remember looking at the standing and where we were. I'm like, no, hold on. I'm like, no, come here. Hold on. Wait, no, there's no way. I'm like, okay, either we did amazing or everybody else had a bad day. There's something going on here. Everybody here has COVID because there's no way I did this. Impossible.
I'm choosing to believe it's that we did well, but I think it's probably.
I'm running with it. I'm running with it. Want to throw out there that some guys I work with were participating in Bloodline Brawl, and our team beat theirs. So
No shots.
No. But that was that Bloodline Brawl was really showed where I was, where I improved from and all that stuff. I remember I died on the rope, and I read Rich Froning's book, and the rope was his, killer.
Yeah.
And all that stuff. And he just, the way in his book he broke it down, like, if you suck at something, work on it.
That's a good point.
Okay. And it paid off. So.
All right. So I have a feeling we're going to have some more events in the future that are going to be fun. So next time we do one of these, we'll talk about those. If you were going to talk to someone who was like scared to get started or had some preconceived notions about like what this kind of working out is, right? And you wanted to help them get started, what would you tell them?
I'd have to condense everything I just told you.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. I would have to tell them, you know what? When do you want to come in? When do you want to? And I'll be like, I'll be there too. And I just meet these people. Just be in the atmosphere. Just walk in and tell me if your fears will be dispelled about anything. It's just the like I said, the welcoming atmosphere. Everybody's always happy to see each other, even if you're brand new. It's just there's this excitement that somebody is just interested in coming here. And if you think you can't do a movement, that's your mind setting your own limitations. And I tell people all the time, they're like, oh, there's no way I'd be able to deadlift, just the bar. I can't do this with my back and all that stuff. Like, there is a modification for everything. I remember, working on my deadlift form, I got smoked with a PVC pipe, and it was just working on my form. I'm like, this is absurd. So I tell, whatever fears they have, and it's normally just like, walking in and not knowing what to do. And I tell people, you are never alone in this gym. You are never in the dark. There's not 1 second you will be confused or, not knowing what to do. And if you are, and before you could even say, I need help, somebody's already there asking, how you doing? Do you need help with something? And all that stuff. There's so much wealth of knowledge here. I got a couple buddies I work with that are trying to come here now, and I tell them, like, just go there, man. Just walk in. I can tell you till I'm blue in the face how great this place is, and I will, but you got to feel it.
Yeah.
It really is amazing here. And just, like I said, it's therapeutic. You could be having a bad day, come here, get smoked, and you come out and be like, life ain't so bad.
Bro, almost 10 years in, that still happens to me. Like, I'm having a bad day, I'm stressed, we're a pretty big business now. we have lots of things that pop up out of nowhere, and I'm just like, I get into a class, I feel so much better. Yeah, my day has changed immediately.
Yeah. Definitely. Especially like, you can come in here with Giselle too. Our demanding schedule, and sometimes we don't see each other for maybe a day or two, just for sleep patterns and all that stuff. But our time is spent here, and I tell people, jokingly, like, yeah, I'm gonna go to the bar with the wife, and then we're posting pictures of her CrossFit, and they're like, oh, I get it, bar, because it's a bar, all that stuff. But that's time well spent. And if you have friends, get your friends, get your family to come here too. It's actually, they say, suffering is a good way to bond. Truthfully,
embrace the suck, man.
It is, yeah. So, that's time well spent with my wife too. Like, just pushing each other, motivating each other, all that stuff. Just asserting dominance.
When she kicked your ass in that open workout.
Yeah. So yeah. Oh God. Okay. So there's disclaimer to that. She's been like so humble and modest about her abilities lately, and lately she's just like blossomed, and I'm so happy. But at the same time, I'm like, oh no, she realized her potential, and she's doing these. Like, same thing, like, she'll be doing mid-open work, and she's like, oh my God, I'm actually doing it, and she's smoking me, and I'm like, no, and I'm like, Sue, stop recording, no, we can't have this on there, and all that stuff, and she's now realizing that she's, like, very, very good at this, and I'm like, see, you were, like, holding yourself back for, you don't want to get sore or hurt or all that stuff, but, like, look, you're throwing this weight around like a joke, and you made me look like an idiot.
I love that, dude. I love that. Anything else you want to bring up, bro?
I don't think, we pretty much covered it. I love talking about this place. I love just hanging out here. Big shout out to Winder. She joined the right side of the family, the blue side, all that stuff. Big shout out to all the other first responders that go to this gym and all that stuff, that have done much more before me, and, our veterans too. Thank you for your service, bro.
You too, man.
Yeah, there's so much more I could say about this place and what we do, and the community and bond we all have. But I'd be talking for hours, bro.
We love having you and Giselle here, bro.
No, we love coming here, brother, man.
Thank you. All right, thanks for hanging out with us today on the Sharkbite Show. If you'd like to get a hold of us, you can find us on Facebook or Instagram at Sharkbite Fitness and Nutrition, or on our website at sharkbitefitness.com. If you'd like to find out more about our guests, their information will be in the show notes. If you'd like to talk to us about getting more fit, feel free to schedule a free no-sweat intro at one of our locations in Cape Coral, Fort Myers, or Naples, Florida.